Technically, this is a video about photography and lighting, but you know what? If you're looking for something for anger management, this is a great thing to make because it really is quite therapeutic. Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers, including, I guess, the materials you need to make your own one of these, which is basically a piece of cardboard with some very carefully positioned holes. I've got some ideas to turn this into 3 different looks, some bokeh out of focus, background blur, some points of light, and maybe use this as a cookie. At least that's the idea. I've no idea whether that's actually going to work or not, but we're going to give it a whirl, and it's going to start, I guess, with some lighting. So I've got 1 light ready, but I'm definitely going to need at least 1 or 2 more, so I'm going to go and get those. Whilst I'm doing that, you should be clicking on the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a video right here on Adorama TV. Right. Let's get a light set, let's get a model in, let's get shooting. So to help me out today, I've got the amazing Chloe. Chloe's going to be the model for this photo session, but let's quickly talk about the thing behind Chloe. Obviously, the carefully positioned holes in the cardboard are ready to go. And behind that, I've got a softbox that is as close as I own to the same size as the cardboard, more or less. And then at the back is the light source, which in this case is a Flashpoint Explore 300. Now I've got everything squeezed as close together as I can to make sure that the light coming through the holes is even, because the look I want first of all is that lovely bokeh, out of focus, balls of light type picture. Now, Chloe is right up against the background. I'm going to get my lens and I'll show you why it's not going to work with this particular setup. So I've set my camera up already. I know I want to shoot at f1.2, which is the wide open aperture for this particular lens. I'm at 1/4000th of a second, ISO 200, and no flash gives me no picture. The flash itself I've set to half power. Let's take a test photo. Here we go, Chloe. It doesn't really work, does it? In this case, the background is more or less black. The spots of light are spots of light, and they're not circles of light. To get those circles of light in the background, we actually need to move Chloe further away from the background. So Chloe, if you can come and stand a little bit further forward. If you increase the distance between where you're focusing and the point source of light, which is the cardboard back there, that's where you get those circles from. So now that doesn't quite work either. In fact, we've added more problems because the background appears to have become much smaller compared to Chloe. What's going on? I'm using a fast 1.2 lens. This should work. Well, to fix one of those problems, all I actually have to do is step backwards. As I step backwards, and I go probably out of picture, but way back to the other side of my studio and take a picture, and if I crop in on this picture, you'll notice that the background appears to have got larger. Now, obviously cropping in post-production isn't ideal, so all I need to do is swap from this lens, 17mm, to something a bit longer, like 45mm, and not only will that crop in, because lenses crop, but also the longer focal length will give me those circles of light in the background. 2 problems fixed with 1 lens. 1.2. So obviously we need to put some light on Chloe, and it's really important that this light doesn't actually reach the background. Now I've done this in 2 ways. First of all, I've put the light really close to Chloe, as close as I can, but not in the frame. And secondly, I've got a grid on this light, so although from back here I can see a little bit of the surface of the softbox, there's not enough to really light this cardboard so it looks like cardboard. I'm also thinking these are going to work much better as a vertical picture. The only thing I want to do is add 1 more light just off to the camera left. So this is another Evolve 200 as well, and it is in an easy lock 12 by 36 inch strip box, but more importantly it's got another grid on it as well, just to stop any light spilling onto the background. Now I've got that at 1/8 power, so this should just put a little bit of light, just a tiny bit of separation light on Chloe, and just fill in those shadows, and that looks absolutely perfect. And that means we're ready to take some photos. So Chloe, are you ready? Okay, away we go. The super shallow depth of field that goes hand in hand with the bokeh background
does mean I'm really relying on the camera's autofocus, and I've got it all turned on. Face detect, eye detect, and I still have to accept that many of the photos won't be pin sharp on the eyes.
So I've changed things around for our second look. I've still got the amazing cardboard background with some carefully positioned holes in them. And I've changed my camera settings. So now rather than going for the high-speed sync and shallow depth of field, circles of background blur, I'm actually just going to go for f5.6 and make these spots of light points of light. I've moved the lights that are going to light Chloe back a little bit, so this light is still turned away from the background, and the light behind I've had to twist around, but basically it's doing the same thing, putting a bit of hair and shoulder light onto Chloe. Each light is doing a great job on their own, but together they give me something that looks like this. Okay, Chloe, here we go, quick little test photo. And it's not quite what I'm after. I'm going to have to accept my cardboard background is going to have a little bit of detail in it. I can kind of live with that, but the lighting on Chloe doesn't quite work. Now, the easy fix for this is to say to Chloe, Chloe, would you mind just turning and facing the side? And change this from a head photo to a profile head photo, and magically, light will get into Chloe's eyes, and because it's quite an angled light, it's a nice shadow light. The only thing I'm not so keen on are those spots behind Chloe, which just need a bit more pizzazz. And I'm going to get that by applying a filter. Now, it's not a filter I would regularly reach for, but in this instance, it's absolutely perfect. It is a Starburst filter, and if you want to find out what Starburst filters I'm using, check out the link in the video description below. You don't have to do anything with this filter, it's completely clear. If I take effectively the same shot as we did before, however, things are going to look, well, a little bit more starstruck, because that's exactly what it does. A Starburst filter, as the name suggests, turns points of light into stars of light. Such a great little fun technique to try. So I think that's everything set. So Chloe, are you ready? Let's take a few photos like this. Here we go.
Any effect that is applied in camera, like a filter effect, is permanently there. So remember, if you like the effect, great, but maybe take a few pictures without the effect, just so in the future, if you change your mind, you've got some options.
For the last setup, I've changed things around a little bit. There's a much bigger gap between the light source and our cardboard with its amazing holes. My hope is that the light will pass through the holes and beam little tiny spots of light onto Chloe. Let's see if it works. I need to come around this side to photograph Chloe. It definitely helps if I can see you. Here we go. Quick little test photo. I know I'm going to have to be wide open with this particular setup, and the end result is, well, it's a nice light on Chloe, but where are my little spots of light? So I've got rid of the softbox because to make those little spots of light project as spots of light, you actually need a small light source, not a big light source. It kind of spins everything on its head a little bit. So I'm using a snoot to actually illuminate the cardboard with the holes in, but obviously I've got to get the light to go all the way over the cardboard. Now, the Explore 300 has a very good modeling lamp, and right now that is really helping because I can back this up and I can more or less see which parts of the cardboard are going to be covered. So I'm pretty much at the other end of my studio. This is going to be at half power. I'm not going to be able to do much about that. It's going to be there. And then I might have to adjust my ISO a little bit or my aperture a bit. Let's see what we get. So I've increased my ISO to 400. I'm still wide open, f2.8. I'm going to go vertical, I think, for these. But yeah, that really works well. We've got that spot of light look that I'm going for. We can refine it even further by changing the white balance either in post-production or in camera to something like 3,500K, and that should make this feel more like stars at night. At least that's what it is in my imagination. And that's basically this technique set up. So Chloe, are you okay? Okay, let's take some photos like this. Here we go.
The snoot is great at controlling the spread of the light, but in my small home studio, it still bounces absolutely everywhere, and light is going to find its way onto Chloe, and I'm going to get light on her face. Basically, I don't need a second flash to light Chloe. However, I am going to get hot spots on her face. Now, if those are a problem, you can either remove them in post-processing or stick some black tape over the holes on your cardboard and remove them in camera.
This has actually worked out really well. I've learnt a lot by using my own cardboard background, and I've got some more ideas on how to improve this technique, so we'll probably return to this sometime in the future. Now, if you've enjoyed this video or you've got any questions, just leave me a comment down below. Even if it's just to leave me a thumbs up in the comments, it really helps. Don't forget to click on the bell icon so you never miss a video right here on Adorama TV, and of course, click on that subscribe button, but just click it the once, that's enough. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.